Showtime. Nick, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the Thoroughly Enthused podcast. This is a podcast about geek and nerd culture with a little bit of spice to it.
A little.
Little bit. It's predominantly going to be anime and video game focused, though. But without further ado, let's introduce ourselves as hosts. You want to go first, Nick?
Yeah. So I'm Nick. I'm 31 years old. I'm really big into anime. I've seen over 200 series all the way through.
Damn.
I have a whole my anime list that I'll link in the description.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also really into indie games. Used to be really into RPGs. Still am, but don't really play them too much these days. Really into science and technology.
AI for the win.
AI. And I used to play a lot of music, and I'm doing music recording now for a neighbor.
Jack of all trades over here. I am Mondo. I'm 25. I love video games. That's my big thing. It's just, I fucking love video games, man. And actually, especially RPGs. That's actually not what first got me into video games, but once I became cultured and, had a better taste. No, I'm just kidding. All video games are awesome, but I just found love for RPGs, both Western and JRPGs. On top of that, I love collecting random everything, borderline hoarder at times, but I like collecting video games, video game consoles, sports cards. Actually, that's another little side thing that I love doing. I love music, although our tastes kind of verge there.
Oh, yeah.
I went through a metal phase, but
Yeah, I'm more into metal and progressive rock.
yeah, and I'm definitely just hip hop. Lots and lots of hip hop. Although I love all kinds of music, so there's definitely some overlap there. And then I also love cannabis. Yep, I said it. I love
Toke
the
it
devil's.
up.
I love,
420.
I love the devil's lettuce, but not just as a consumer. I'm the kind of guy that loves reading research paper on cannabis and cannabinoid science. I've been in the industry for a couple of years. I'm not in it currently, but I still have lots of friends and in that space, and so I just love nerding out on that shit.
Hell yeah.
So you might learn a thing or two about the devil's lettuce on this podcast. Who would have thought? So yeah, that's our little introduction. The next
Real
segment.
quick.
Yeah.
So what? This is a pilot episode.
Oh, yes,
Episode
yes.
0. We definitely want feedback later on, and
sure.
We're planning on having a separate podcast, which is the Thoroughly Enthused After Dark.
Yes, that's gonna be spicy.
It's real spicy.
So eventually we're gonna try to do a Thoroughly Enthused After Dark, and that's gonna actually be more focused towards those other interests that we have, including cannabis, and that's probably when we're gonna dive deeper into what we're listening and so on and so forth. Hints.
Yeah,
After.
science and technology. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be a little bit more casual. This is gonna be definitely more segmented in our approach for the regular Thoroughly Enthused. But in that After Dark, it's going to be a little bit more laid back, a little bit more casual. So
a little bit more crazy.
Yeah, definitely some stories. So just go on the lookout for that. So it might be coming in a couple of weeks. All right, so the next segment that we have is In the News. Just talking about a little bit of things that we have been finding interesting over the past week or so. And Nick, it's you're up for what is your In the News.
So there is a anime coming out called Tower of God, and it's based off of a webtoon.
And what is a webtoon?
A webtoon, if you go to webtoons.com, you can go, and it's basically like free manga.
Okay.
But it's done in a vertical format, so you scroll down.
Yeah, it was interesting actually. I couldn't really picture it in my head at first, but then when we were bringing stuff up for the show notes, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I've never really seen it laid out like that, and like you said, it's fully colored. It's actually really, really cool. So, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. So there's this guy. He's named Lee Jong Hui, He actually created Tower of God
Okay.
all by himself. He did all the art, all the coloring, all the story,
Wow.
everything.
Wow.
He's been going. He's like on season 3 in the webtoon, and it's done in the Manwha style, which is kind of similar to manga, but it's Korean.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were telling me that not many of these get turned into anime, right?
Yeah, yeah, and actually this one's pretty unique because it's a Japanese studio making it, and based off of a Korean manhwa.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's really interesting. Is there any release date or anything like that, or has it just been posted that it's going to be made?
So it's questionable, probably about April 2020.
Oh, okay. So hopefully in the next few months.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
I'm so excited. It's going to be the next big thing. Not very many people know about it, but I've read quite a few chapters in this story. And it's going to be kind of like the next like Death Note or Attack on Titan. But it's definitely a fresh and different story.
All right. So we'll see.
Basically, it's about this guy who has to find someone who went into the Tower of God that has hundreds of floors. And as you go up through the floors, you're faced with different challenges.
Okay.
And by the time you get through a certain portion of the story, you're going to hate all of the characters.
Really? All right. Well, dang. Well, my part of the in news. Oh, right here. It is right here. Oh, as of February 20th, there was a Nintendo Direct actually specifically for Animal Crossing, and we have a release date here. It looks like the release date is going to be March 20th, so in about a month. And, man, Nick, I know a lot of people are looking forward to this. I know you're looking forward to it.
Yeah. I didn't play too much of the previous Animal Crossing games. I played a little bit of the one on GameCube.
Yeah. I think that one is, like, one that everybody remembers, right? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
When
yeah.
I think Animal Crossing, I think GameCube. I'm sure they had Wii iterations. Oh, personally, I don't know too much about Animal Crossing, but I know that people love that game. Including actually Melissa. Melissa, my girlfriend, she does not play video games. I'll tell you that. But even she is excited for Animal Crossing. So people have been anticipating this.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the previous E3, like 2018 or not 2018, 2019 E3. I saw a little direct that showed some early gameplay footage when they also announced that they had to delay it. And it looks really awesome. Like there's a lot to do.
Yeah, no, I was even looking through that. It's like there's like a 30-minute video that came with a direct, of course, and I've never really played Animal Crossing myself, but I'm like, ooh, I personally need to stay away from that game because I know it would just be a void. Like nobody would see me.
It's definitely going to be a time sink.
So when I was looking through, I looked at IGN, and apparently Doom is going to be releasing the same time at the same day. Yeah, March 20th. And so here is some fan art that people, and these will be in the show notes here. It is from IGN.com, but this next one's my favorite.
Yes.
I wish you guys could see it. You guys can see it in the show notes, but it's basically, I don't know who that character is from Animal Crossing, but its head is on the Doom guy, and just looks enraged. That one's cute.
Yeah, we'll share these images in the show notes so you guys can check them out.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, that's pretty much it for In the News. It is a little short because, this is a pilot episode, but hopefully next time around we'll have much more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna get a new mic too. So.
Oh yeah, you guys should see the ghetto setup.
Yeah.
It's freaking awesome. So the next segment here is what we're currently playing and watching over this past week or so. So, Nick, take it away.
Yeah, I'm watching a show called Darwin's Game, an anime called Darwin's Game, and it's really really crazy. It's kind of different than like it's got its own unique concept to it. And I remember watching a movie in the past, and I can't remember what the movie is called, but it's very similar to this anime.
Okay, and what's kind of like what's it about?
So basically, these people they get an app on their phone, and when they click the app, they hallucinate a snake coming out of the screen, and it bites them. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
snap! And then all of a sudden they are in this. They're playing this game where they actually have to. They get pitted up against people, other people playing the game, and they have to either kill each other or escape within a certain amount of time.
Okay.
They get points which they can use to get new abilities and stuff, and they also get money to buy stuff like guns and stuff.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's pretty intense. The first episode has a guy wearing a panda suit
I think that's freaking awesome.
chasing after the main character with a knife.
Oh my
The
god.
main character's freaking out.
Can you imagine that in real life? Like, you just turn a corner, some fool's in a panda suit, just has a big ass knife, and it's just like,
Yeah,
it's go time.
it's intense. So it's really high paced, really fast paced.
Oh, nice. Do you want to go next also on the.
Yeah. Also, what I'm doing is I've been working on this Minecraft server for about 4 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's gone through many iterations, and right now I'm completing a recode. And once the server is complete, we're going to release it to the public. And basically, what it is you can create a city in the game, and that city will level up based off of the population.
Okay.
So the city owner can actually give roles to people and make them citizens, or they can flag them as hostile. The city itself can also automatically flag players as hostile. But basically, it's sort of like an anti-grief system.
What is anti-grief?
So in Minecraft servers, there's this problem in survival servers where players will just destroy everything.
Oh,
So this is like a control for that.
okay.
So if you're hostile, it makes it really hard to break stuff. You can't activate TNT. You can't set things on fire. Only the players that are part of the city can break things
Okay.
easily.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, there's
Because,
that.
you know, people are just wonderful, and any chance they can to
Yeah.
just create havoc,
It's gonna
it's going to happen.
So yeah, I've been working on that, and once it's complete, it's gonna be really hard. But you can build above ground safely as long as you assign citizens to people you trust.
There you go. So on my point, on my side, so my girlfriend actually bought me Pokemon Shield for the Nintendo Switch in January, and thank you very much, Melissa. And I've been obsessed with it. To be honest, I've been just freaking I love that game.
If I still had my Switch, I'd have gotten Sword.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be nice. Well, like, all right, so I know there has been some controversy, I guess, in this newest iteration of Pokemon. But personally, the last Pokemon game that I played was Gen 3. So Ruby and Sapphire, and I haven't played Pokemon since. So I guess my expectations haven't necessarily been the absolute highest. But man, I've already logged in like 130 hours, which I mean,
Does it actually have that same kind of feel as those older games?
No, it is completely different than what I remember for Pokemon. You know, I mean, of course there is some of the standard Pokemon systems and stuff like that that don't really change over generations. But in terms of like just the feel of the game, it doesn't really remind me of like the older generations. always doing max rate battles. I actually have been also trying to attempt to build a competitive team. It's definitely a work in progress, but who knows? Maybe in a couple of months or something, I could actually put.
So are there actually like tournaments?
Yeah. No, I think there was the Dallas regional. There was a Dallas regional recently. I think it was like last month or something like that. And I guess that what has been the single biggest turnout for a regional in the history of Pokemon.
Wow.
Yeah, it's well because from what I've heard, there's been a lot of quality of life improvements in this in the Gen 8 Pokemon because there it's just like just the systems that they had is so much more streamlined to like build competitive teams or breed competitive Pokemon.
Yeah, I heard them. They got rid of a lot of move sets that have classically existed, mainly because they wanted to recalibrate the competitive scene a little bit.
Yeah, well, and on top of that, it just even like the addition of a judge function. So after in the post game, you had to go to the battle tower and beat like 3 stages of the battle tower, and then you unlock the judge function, and that automatically, instead of you like calculating Pokemon's IVs and stuff like that, you just have this judge function that just lets you know, like, all right, your HP is great, your special attack IV is not good. You know what I mean? And it just
Yeah.
kind of breaks it down in a much more like, I guess, beginner friendly aspect. So yeah, that's my Pokemon adventures.
How's your Alcremies doing?
Oh, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So I have, as of probably last weekend, last Saturday or something, I finished all of the forms of Alchemy. So all the flavors, all the toppings, because there's been there's been an event recently for Milceries. I don't know how to say it, but over this past month or so, they've been showing up more in Raidens. And so I just been grinding it out. And what was nice about this event was actually every time you got a Milcery, they would also give you some of the toppings. So like like you'll get like a star, a heart, and a shamrock or whatever, or clover, whatever it's called. And yeah, I would just, oh, I it took a long time, but I did it. The rainbow swirl is the prettiest. Oh, I have like 6 shiny alchemy too. So
Nice.
there's that.
Oh yeah, the weird glitch.
Yeah. If you know, you know. Also, I've been kind of debating if I want to start collecting for my 3DS. I haven't, like, I only have a handful of games, but I know there are a ton of RPGs that have came out on the 3DS that I think are worth playing, and some that I don't know. So in the end, we'll tell you guys all of our social media platforms. But if you have a suggestion for me to pick up for the 3DS, preferably RPG or JRPG, but honestly, any kind of genre, I'm down for. Let me know, and I'll start looking around for it.
So are people still developing, or is Nintendo or other people still developing for the 3DS?
No, I don't believe so. No. Which
Okay.
would actually, I think, makes it more enticing for collecting, just because now I feel like the prices are going to start to drop since everybody's focused on the Switch now.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to buy stuff. Oh, like I don't like
I don't want to buy stuff.
I don't want to buy stuff. But like, if I try to collect for like the Super Nintendo or something like that, I feel like that would also cost a lot of money just because it's been so old for so long that now the prices are going back up. But something that's just over the past few years has kind of been the old thing. I think that's the best time to pick up games because everything should be on cheap. Oh, well, that being said, it's also Nintendo, so we'll see because they always somehow keep their prices up. Um, I think that is it for what we're playing and watching for the week. So now we are gonna get into the main topic for today, and the main topic is
Penny Arcade Expo.
it is before PAX became mainstream, quote unquote mainstream, because it kind of picked up right away.
Oh yeah. So the first year only had about 3,000 people. I went to the very, 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 very first PAX.
Yeah. Well, actually, before we actually fully go into it, let's give him a little bit of background. So, Nick, like he was just gonna say, went to the very first Penny Arcade Expo. My first experience of the Penny Arcade Expo was the third one, and I think together we went to the first five together. I would say. So this is 5 or 6 or 4 somewhere
Yeah,
around.
yeah, yeah.
So this is this main topic of wow. There's the main topic for today is gonna be those first PAX experiences and what we kind of got, what we remember off the top of our heads
Yeah.
and stuff. So yeah, so let's go back. So you said 2004.
Yeah, 2004. There's this friend of mine named Tavish Hill, and he notified me about this event going on nearby, where I lived, and it was Penny Arcade Expo, and I'm like, what the hell is that? He's like, it's a new thing. These people who make this online video game comics, they're actually hosting an event similar to E3, but for the public. And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. So I went to Bellevue, where the first one was hosted, and I was staying at my stepbrother's place, which was about 30 blocks away. And so I was like, oh crap, I'm going to have to walk back and forth between the venue and this
Which is a
and my
trek right
brother's.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of freaking out about that, but I was going to do it. And so I went to the actual event, and lo and behold, I found out that they were not closing for either of the nights that they were open.
I think that's just completely insane. I think that's. I wish that they could still pull shit off like that. Because just 48 hours of just freaking nerd heaven.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that sounds amazing.
Like at 2 in the morning, they were still open. Like
just running it.
so, I ran into this guy in bring your own computer gaming area. And we actually kind of got along and went around and did some things together.
He joined your party.
Yeah, he joined my party. And so he would leave each night, and he's like, I told him my situation, and he's like, you could just crash into my computer. So each night, I just crashed under his computer in the bring your own computer gaming area.
Oh man, that has to be like. Anytime you bring up that story, I'm like that's such a cool experience to have. Like first PAX, you're sleeping under a computer in the convention hall.
Yeah.
Like that's just stuff that like you don't get to do nowadays for sure.
Yeah, and I remember the first year they had live music as well, and that's reoccurred ever since the first one. But it was definitely pretty amazing. I got to see MC Chris and Optimus Rhyme, which were really cool. And I also got to see the mini bosses, which is like metal video game music.
Which is just screams Nick right there.
Yeah.
Metal screams Nick.
But it was definitely pretty wild. It was like an actual concert almost. But I mean, the event only had like 3,000 people for the first year. And it's completely grown since then. And you came in 2006.
2006, yeah. So that would be the third Penny Arcade Expo. And I just remember Nick telling me, we lived separately at that time. And, he would, anytime I come over, he's like, we're going to the Penny Arcade Expo. You're coming to PAX with me. And I was just like, hell yeah, And
wasn't this the night that Lauren also came with us
yeah,
and Eric, and we were walking along
Yep. Yeah.
At night.
Yep. So we decided that we were gonna meet up at one of our friends' places. It was Eric's mom's, right?
Yeah.
And so this was up in Lake Stevens, and to let you guys know, if you guys haven't guessed already, we're from Washington, so we're from where the Penny Arcade Expo originated, and so we had to walk from our place over to where Eric was.
Which is about, I want to say about 40 blocks.
40 how much is that in miles?
I don't know. It's like 2 miles.
Yeah. I'm gonna start just measuring everything out in blocks. Like, how many miles in the way is Seattle to SeaTac? I don't know. It's like 12,000 blocks or something like that. So yeah, we walked and we decided to go at night. So by like the night prior to us leaving, so we could get there, get ready, and then head out. And what we didn't really consider was there's a long strip of road.
Sidewalk.
No sidewalk, and absolutely no street lights. And I want to say it was was it a mile? I don't know. Was it like about a mile?
About a mile.
About a mile. So a mile of just pitch black. We have all of our gaming stuff and all of our clothes and stuff in these big duffel bags.
Lauren brought his guitar.
Brought his guitar. Of course, we didn't wear anything reflective because, I mean, that would be responsible. And, so we're just pitch black. So when people would hit the corner and stuff, the lights would come out and they'd just see a group of hoodlum kids with black duffel bags and just carrying all these cases and probably have our hoods on because it's cold. And then next thing you know, a cop comes around the corner and turns on his lights, and we're like, okay, and pulled us over and kind of half joking.
You got bodies in those bags.
He half jokingly, but half kind of serious was like, yeah, do you guys have bodies in those bags? And we're just like, no, why? And apparently on that trek, at least 2 people called the cops on us. Some suspicious kids/teenagers walking in the pitch black. And honestly, I don't blame them because that was just silliness.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get there, we get everybody sorted, and then we go to back to Bellevue. This was last PAX actually at Bellevue. And honestly, I just remember having a ton of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Just
I think we stayed up all 3 days.
Did we stay up all 3 days?
Yeah, we didn't go to sleep. We drank so many energy drinks.
Oh my god, yes.
That was the first time that you had Bawls.
Yeah, Bawls. Bawls was is Bawls even a thing anymore?
Yeah.
Is it still going?
You have to find it in certain supermarkets.
It's niche now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was when Bawls was I feel almost synonymous with gaming for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely promoted strongly for gamers.
Yeah, and so... Yeah, I remember we drank up a ton. Oh my gosh, I do remember because by the third night we were watching
We were watching Josh play Guitar Hero.
We were watching Josh play Guitar Hero at the venue, and I was starting to see straight up tracers while watching. I was zombied out.
Yeah, I was so zoned out. I didn't feel like I existed, and everything was not there, but I could still see, but I couldn't.
And this was before we enjoyed cannabis or anything like that. So we were very much sober and just very, very caffeinated and sleep deprived.
Yeah.
And young.
Borderline hallucinating.
Yeah. Good times. That's crazy. I do remember.
Alex fell asleep the second night. And he didn't wake up for most of the third day.
Yeah. That sounds about right. So, it was just such a fun experience, and it was still, I feel small enough where you could check things out. There wasn't huge lines. It wasn't a huge crowd, but it still felt big,
One of my favorite things about that was when, because they had this, event going on where everyone got Assassin's Creed stickers and their swag bag.
No, this was the following That was the following PAX. I think that was the first one in Seattle where that happened. Do you know?
No. It was at the Baden Bauer Center.
Oh, it was? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. My bad.
So basically, my friends and I, we all got together, and the event was you had to stick these Assassin's Creed stickers onto security guards without them noticing, and they'd like give you a stamp or whatever.
I don't think it was security. I think it was the developers.
It was it was the developers.
And so they were just walking around the venue as well. And if you can get it,
Yeah, you have to get the sticker onto them without them seeing you. And like we devised plans, like we'd have someone distract them while someone else is hiding behind a pillar and stuff.
I just remember some of the devs and the worker employees for that would be Ubisoft, right? Is that
Yeah.
and specifically for Assassin's Creed would even team up and like walk back to back, or like when they're on the escalator they'd be back to back on each other, like making sure nobody would get.
It was pretty awesome. I got one in the elevator.
Oh man, I remember actually on the escalator. We were going up one way, and one of the guys was going down the other way, and he wasn't blocking himself. And we were, going opposite directions, and we see him, but we're like, damn, like, there's no way we could get him without looking. A guy ahead of us hops over the escalators and runs back down the escalators to tag him on the back. I was just like, oh, I should have done that. I totally should have just went for it. Just hop the escalators and go for it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, that was great.
I think it might have been the second year that they did Penny Arcade Expo. You guys weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been even the first one, but I think it might have been the second one, actually. They had a virtual reality booth where you walk into this giant ball, like a hamster ball kind of thing.
Really?
And you could actually walk around in the VR.
Oh, wow.
Any direction. And this was like before like the Vive and before like the what's the other one? Oculus Rift. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially if it was 2004, like those are
early tech.
Early tech. I bet that seemed next gen.
Like the graphics were terrible. It was just a bunch of polygons, basically. But the movement and everything was actually pretty fluid for that time.
Man, that's funny. That's crazy. It's a lot of foreshadowing of what technology was to come,
Yeah.
And then so 2007 was the first PAX where they relocated to the Washington State Convention Center.
Yeah.
And this was my second PAX. And man, they just upped the ante on this one. I remember I was so excited.
We stayed in a nearby hotel.
Yep, we all saved up for a nice hotel right around the corner. Of course, the capacity was a lot bigger than where it was in Bellevue.
We brought a bunch of people again that year.
Yeah, I want to say like 10 people altogether.
Yeah, we brought 10 to 11.
10 to 11.
All in one hotel room, and we had to sneak them in like in little groups.
Yes. Oh man. But no way we were gonna go to two, or nor could we probably afford. That was probably all we could afford was just one hotel room between the 10 of us. Yeah.
They had this thing called When You're Waiting Ramen. There was like a little booth where basically you weigh yourself, put the raffle ticket, and you might be able to win your weight. I can't remember if one of our party actually won that or not, but I remember even despite that, they were still chucking like packs of ramen at people randomly. So we all had like a shit ton of ramen.
Just ridiculous amount of ramen.
And we kept eating like dry ramen bricks throughout the weekend. Just because we could.
Oh man, that's too. I wonder how many years of our lives we shaved off just on those first few packs, just from drinking obscene amount of caffeine plus stuff that's probably not allowed in caffeinated drinks anymore.
Yeah.
And then just straight dry ramen. Oh man.
So that one was pretty cool. It was still, let's see here. It was about 39,000 people about this time. And it was 2007. I remember that this one person had a bunch of bottles of balls that they were selling, and I'm like, "Can I buy the whole case?" And it had like, what was it, like 50 of them in there?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, "Can I just buy the whole case?" And the person was like, and they're like, "Well, you're gonna have to pay for them per bottle." And I'm like, "That's fine."
That's okay.
So I bought the whole case.
We brought it back up to the
And it
hotel room.
lasted us throughout the whole convention for our party.
Oh yeah.
And then there was another thing going on, another event where NVIDIA was giving people badges.
Uh-huh.
And if you found, on these badges, they had a unique number. If you found someone else wearing a badge that had the same number as yours,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you could both go to the NVIDIA booth, spin the wheel, win a prize.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Lauren and I, we found a roll of paper,
Uh-huh.
a gigantic spool of paper, and there was these like dividers that could unfold on the sky bridge.
Oh, okay.
And so what we did was we unfolded those fold divider things, tore off like a huge chunk of this paper, and put these massive pieces of paper on the trifold. And we created our own booth out of nowhere, which allowed people to write down their numbers
Uh-huh.
on this massive sheet of paper. And there were so many numbers on that sheet of paper by the end, and like people writing like their phone numbers to contact each other.
That is so awesome.
And we got 2 matches through that system, but we created our own booth. So Lauren and I, like, half the convention were just like taking turns watching that.
Did you guys happen to find your match at all?
No.
Oh man. Hey, but still that's 2 extra people that probably actually have the same memory. Like, I remember somebody made a booth
Yeah.
and I won some free shit.
Yeah. I remember the NVIDIA devs, the NVIDIA people at their booth, they thought it was really creative and they weren't expecting that. I don't think they wanted that many people to win.
No. You lose, NVIDIA. I went to the 2008 one, didn't I? I might have. I think I did. Honestly, I think I did go to the 2008 one.
Yeah, the 2008 one is when I actually brought. We didn't playtest it. We didn't playtest this at all, which is a card game.
Oh, yeah.
That's really stupid. The more players you have, the better it is. Check it out.
Yeah,
check it out. For
definitely
sure.
check it out. I feel like this is where we started to see PAX become a little bit more, quote unquote, mainstream, in the sense that just like things were a little bit more restricted. I mean, it was reported that there was almost 60,000 people versus the 39,000 to the year prior. So it makes sense that things were a little bit more secured. We couldn't buy, unfortunately, I think the worst part was we couldn't buy cases of balls anymore.
Yeah.
That was just a 1 year thing, and we were kind of bummed. But
we broke NVIDIA's event last year, so they didn't do it.
Yeah,
this year.
We ruined it for following years. But yeah, I mean, so I think, I don't know, was there any memorable stuff from those next years or two?
A little bit. So 2008, we brought another large group of people.
Squad.
And we stayed at the Sheraton again. One of my favorite memories about that one had nothing to do with the event itself. But in the hotel, they had this long, thin table that we took the lamp off of and everything, moved it into the center of the room, and we played beer pong. But we ran out of beer pretty quickly. We had vodka, though. So we played vodka pong.
Oh, man. Just turned it up just a little bit more, like...
Yeah. And I remember Josh went to that year again, and he had a bottle of wine, red wine, and he was drinking it in the hotel room, and fell asleep with it on the bed, so it spilled all over the pillowcase.
Oh man.
And I got an email after the event from the Sheraton, and they're like, "Come back again.
Please come
Yeah.
back.
Here's some points. Come back."
We have some words for you. But honestly, I feel like my fondest memories were those initial 3 years.
Oh yeah, when it was small,
Like that's
no lines.
no lines. Just I feel like I mean, you guys making a booth to help people get Nvidia numbers and stuff that's just something that can only happen.
It was so spontaneous.
Yeah, and there was just enough freedom to do stuff that were kind of funny and quirky and bending the rules a little bit that I'm not sure if will ever be experienced again in PAX, just because the sheer size of it now. I mean,
now, let's see here. How big has it gotten?
and also I haven't been to a PAX in a long time, so I can't even talk about the experiences personally because I don't have any.
We don't have any numbers for the most recent years, but however, I do know how it's gotten so big that the convention center itself cannot hold everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So now several hotels and other places around the city are also hosting PAX events.
Yeah, and then you look here. I mean, there's a PAX East, PAX Australia that happened.
Yeah.
All these different things, and so it's just I don't know. Those are memories that I'll always cherish. Actually, just because it's it's never going to be that small again. Those are the little stories that are what make those memorable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've been to some recent PAXs, and it's now just a convention of lines.
Oh man, see, that's why I'm every year I say I'm going to go to a PAX, but I'm almost nervous to go because I have so many nostalgic memories of those initial conventions.
Yeah.
That I'm like, oh, am I going to love this or I'm going to be like, ah.
Also, going by yourself isn't nearly as fun as going with other people.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
For sure, especially if you're going to be in lines most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It gets kind of boring.
Yeah, I can see it.
But I remember the solution to that is we didn't play test this at all.
Yeah.
We had so much fun in lines.
All right. Well, do you have anything else to say regarding our initial PAX experiences?
No, not really. I think that covers quite a bit.
By the way, I think we should name this pilot episode that we bought a case full of balls. I think that's gonna be the title of this pilot episode.
Okay.
You heard it here first. All right, so the last segment we have today is drumroll please. Mondo's super duper anime report quest. I know it's a beautiful title right there.
Verbios.
And so, just so you guys know, I'm just getting back into anime myself. I mean, I've always had a fond memory of anime. When we were younger, that's how Nick and I bonded a lot.
Naruto, Death Note.
All that, yeah. And so, and just recently, I've been getting back into it. And so, with Nick knowing so many series, know what's good, what's bad, in his opinion, but I have a very similar taste to him. We've decided that he's going to give me a little bit of homework to make me a little bit more cultured in the world of anime. So,
And this is going to be a weekly thing?
yeah, mm-hmm. So we're gonna find a series, ideally not too long, such as this first one, and something that I can go over and report through the first season or so in a few weeks, and in about 3-4 weeks. And then we're actually going to flip the script, and then I'm going to give Nick we're going to work on the title. We haven't figured it out yet. Something just as extravagant as my title. But I'm going to give him an RPG or video game that he's going to play. And he's going to do the same thing. He's going to report, and I'll give him my thoughts and experience and research on it and stuff like that. And yeah, that's how we're going to kind of flip back and forth as
every week
as it goes on. So for the first anime for Mondo's Super Duper Anime Report Quest is
ReZero.
ReZero. So, tell us a little bit about ReZero.
ReZero is about this guy named Subaru. He's a Japanese kid, about 15, I think. He's coming out of a grocery, little corner store. He purchases some ramen and chips. And he walks outside. It's nighttime. He closes his eyes, and then he opens them, and he's all of a sudden in another world.
Boom.
Fantasy world. The plot of this is basically he has to figure things out, and he keeps dying.
He does not know how to survive.
No, not at all. He thinks that he has like magic when he joins, because like he's an otaku, like he's read manga and stuff. He's watched anime. He knows these otherworld stories.
Yes, he knows all the tropes.
But the tropes don't seem to apply properly. So it's kind of funny. It gets pretty intense later on as you go. You're gonna cry.
Shed some tears.
If you don't have a heart, then you might not cry. But
I'm very sensitive, so I'll probably tear up here and there. And so I have already watched the first 5 episodes, but I'm gonna rewatch them for the podcast. Get some notes down and stuff, so you guys can have a vivid representation of the anime as I watch along. And then Nick is gonna be adding to the dialogue because he's actually gone beyond the anime.
Yes.
And because there's also, it's based off of a light novel, correct?
yeah, and the light novel, it's not a manga or anything. It's like a book. I don't know why it's called light
It kind of
novel.
reminds me of a script almost, in a sense, like a blend.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a blend between a book and a script.
Yeah.
Just from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And you would estimate that the light novel has gone how many, like
About 2 million words.
2 million words? Like, so how many seasons would you estimate that being, since there's only one season of the anime done?
They have up to, let's see here, season 1, 2, 3. They're almost done with season quote unquote 4.
See, so Nick definitely knows a lot about the story, more than what the anime shows. So he's going to bring that kind of expertise to the report as we go along. And so I'm really excited. So next week we will be talking about ReZero and those initial 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah,
there.
I gave a brief summary right now because I don't want to spoil anything.
For sure.
When we talk about it in the next podcast, then we might have a little bit of spoilery.
Yes, we'll try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, but by nature of me reporting on it, there's bound to be some kind of spoilers in regards to the episodes that I'll be watching. Correct?
And we'll give a proper cue.
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll be like, hey, spoilers coming up.
Yeah.
And then we'll give like a sound effect or something.
Yeah. We'll find something cute to put in there.
Yeah.
And so, with all that being said, that is the end of the pilot episode.
Yeah.
Nick, how you feeling, man?
Pretty good. This is my first time doing a podcast.
Same.
So it was kind of awkward at first, but definitely starting to flow along a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, this is a first for both of us, actually. We both love podcasts and love the shit that we're talking about, so we decided to give it a shot. We might not be perfect right now, but hopefully we just continue to improve as the episodes go along.
Yeah, and this is
As my voice cracks.
this is episode 0. So this is just a pilot. You guys can give us some feedback on what you like, what
Yes.
you didn't like.
Please do. I mean, the feedback is going to help us tremendously because this is our first ever podcast. We want to hear what you guys think about it.
Yeah, and we're gonna get a better microphone because right now we're just using a headset mic, and we're both using the same
Same headset.
headset.
It's literally just chilling on the computer desk, and we're kind of hunched over a little bit, trying
Yeah.
to speak into the headphones, but trying to get the right distance, both of us, so we're not one louder than the other and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hopefully it sounds bearable, you know.
Yeah.
And so I hope you guys like it. We have a couple of social media accounts that you guys can follow and start engaging with us so we can start building a community, because that's a big thing. I think that's why both of us are here for, us to talk about things that we love and start building that community.
And so you guys can hear things you love or don't.
Exactly. Or don't. So to start off, what is our Discord?
It's Thoroughly Enthused, and we're going to provide a Discord link in the show notes.
Yes, yeah. And on top of that, we will have URLs to all the stuff we've been talking about today in the show notes as well. So if you want to look at those adorable pictures and whatnot, check out, stuff about PAX yourself.
Or Tower of God, what that's about. I'll actually link the actual webtoon. It's free to...
Yeah. No, I would definitely suggest checking out the webtoon, because it's just not what I was expecting to see when you were describing it. But when you actually see it, it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I can get into that.
And the fact that one guy made that by himself.
That's crazy to me.
Insane.
We also have an Instagram. The Instagram is at Thoroughly Enthused Podcast. And for Twitter, it is at Enthused Podcast. And that's going to be, we just made those as of like an hour ago. Yeah. And so it's all fresh, and start following us, start engaging with us.
Click that like button, subscribe.
Comment down below.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah. That's great. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.